Hi, this is Natasha. In this video, I'm going to explain what I've done so far in my Unity game Mirage, including how the components are used, how the scripts work, and show you some progress on the playthrough. To begin with, the menu scene includes a collage of buttons with a background and some audio that I found on websites. So when I hover over the start button, it plays a click sound, and when I exit, it does the same. And if I click on the start button, it takes me to the next scene. Now going back, if I click on the quit button, it currently won't work, but its function is to quit the game during the playthrough. So when the game is built, if I click that, it will immediately exit the application. These audios are all copyright free, in which I will include the link in my game developer website where the tab resource is. So the first thing is the empty object audio manager is set up to store all the audio files. As you can see, there's a script right here and an audio source component attached to it. Inside the script, I refer to the audio source component right here in order to use its audio clip slot to any files that I want to replace it with. So here I listed all the sound effects and music that I want. So I can place all the slots in here and replace them in here. No, here. When I need them to be in here. Below are the functions named after the audio clip names, and the job is to simply replace and play the clip. I've made sure that they're all public, so I can access them from outside the script. Inside the functions, I will need them to do two things. One is to replace the audio clip slot in here when it's with its correlated audio, which is named here. And the second is to play that audio. That is pretty much it. I choose to manage my audio files this way because it is currently the easiest way for me to understand and manage. Though as I progress, I may try some other methods that provides more flexibility in the future. So I don't have to list all these names here. Instead, I could have, say, a drop-down list to drag and drop in all the audio files that I want. Back to Unity. Next are the UI buttons. So as I said, when you hover, it plays a click sound, and when you exit, it does the same. When you click on it, it plays a click as well, and it takes you to the next scene. So if I inspect it, as you can see in here, there are two scripts attached to the onClick function. One is to play the click sound from the audio manager right here, and the other one is to load the next scene. And here it is to play a to set this game object, is actually an image, this UI image, set it active so it can do what it needs to do, in which the job for him right here, you can see there's another script and an animator. What I need it to do is to play animation. So here you can see upon entry it has fade end, and if I can show you what it is, it's basically a fade out, whereas the fade start, that requires the trigger start transition, it would be fade in. So here the trigger right here, if I look into the script, oops, oh, it's inspector, it's called scene changer. Inside the script there is one function and one enumerator. Above there's a reference to the animator, I called it transition, and a float to manage the transition time in the inspector here, and a string to manage the scene name, also in the inspector. Here in the enumerator, what I needed to do is to trigger the parameter start transition so it can trigger the animation, and wait for some time before it loads the scene that I want it to load. And here the transition time refers to the float, the scene name here, so I can edit it in the inspector. Yeah, that would be it for the enumerator, whereas the function is simply to start this coroutine and have a return value of a string, return variable as a string. Yeah, and back to Unity. So the whole point of me adding this transition before, like, instead of just transition to change into the next scene after I click the button, is to enhance the visual experience for the player, so the response from the button click wouldn't feel so sudden and will create a more relaxing atmosphere, in my opinion. That is the reason. Yep. Now here to the quit button. In this button I have attached also two scripts. One is the audio manager, so on click it plays the sound once again. The other one is different to the start function, the start script. Here I attach a quit script, and if I inspect it, it only does one thing, which is to quit the application. Okay, one more thing. I may add the transition scene here or there in the future, depending on player feedbacks from my classmates. But for now, I would like to keep it simple so I can just focus on the other tasks that I have here and in other scenes. That's why this is currently just one function, and it's just very simple. Now go back to the sound object. As you can see in the hierarchy, there are child objects under these UI buttons, and if I click in there, you can see in Inspector there are two components. One is the 2D collider and another is a script named on hover play sound. I attached them to the child game object instead of the UI buttons because it doesn't work in these buttons. My suspect is that the button UIs already have these highlights on mouse enter or on mouse hover functions in here. Therefore, it wouldn't work if I attach another script with the same function. I was thinking that I might be able to find like a sound on mouse enter here, but I couldn't find it. That's why I did it in the child instead. Yep, it's about inheritance. So if I open the script and hover play sound, so here in the script there are two things I needed to do. One is to play the sound when the mouse is hovered over the button, which is the collider that is attached to it. Here's an empty game object, so it's just a collider. And do the same when it exits the hover. I actually found these two on mouse enter and on mouse exits in this Unity scripting AI website. Here it explains how all of these functions works and given an example here. So I copied and pasted on here and edit some customization to it in here, which is to add a sound, a click sound, besides the debug log. But you can see in here is on mouse over. On here I did on mouse enter instead, which is because I only needed to do once upon the mouse hover action. So yeah, this is just to fetch this audio script, and yeah, back to Unity. Okay, one last thing to mention in this scene is the background image right here. Originally I had a different image that shows the player, more about the theme of the game. If I can show you. Right here. Originally it looked like this. I took this down and replaced it with the one shown here because I want to show the powerfulness of the pyramid, as you can see this perspective here and how it compared with a mere cat, the size of the pyramid to a cat. But the problem with the new image, from the feedback I received from my classmates who have tried this game in this perspective, it seems that they wouldn't know this is a pyramid if I didn't tell them. So for this reason, I have changed the background along with my original design for the next scene, which I will be covered in the next video, but here I can just have a quick preview of it right here. It originally have a completely different design. It is meant to just choose the character. There should be different character on the scene. But here I have path instead. Yep, so that will be what I would begin to explain in the next video, as it is a different scene and I'm running out of brain cell. So thank you for watching.